Brad, you've had 14 different positions. You've moved seamlessly from policy to housing and transportation. How do you lead during a time of crisis?
Crises are interesting opportunities. Back in 2016, I found out that the person who ran our finance authority for nonprofits had embezzled $2.2 million. I won't go into how it happened, but I went right to where I was deputy director at the time, went to the director, and they said, we got to deal with this. He said, well, who do we get to help us? So the first decision we made, it was he, myself, and our general counsel who sort of had to manage this. And I got a crisis manager I knew who was really good, Alex Clements. When he heard about this, he knew how important this was. He literally got on BART in San Francisco, was in our office at Lake Merritt BART Station in 35 minutes. And he talked to us about how to think about this, how to go public. He said, you have to be honest with people. You have to own it. You have to talk about the steps you're taking to deal with it. And you have to get out in front of it. So we had a SAP meeting. The director said, well, it was Friday. Well, we'll do it Monday morning. He said, no, you're going to do it in an hour. We got to get Fridays. And we ended up working with the Attorney General's office, the U.S. District Attorney, and the Justice Department. We got full restitution. This man went to jail for 5 years. And we were on the front page of the Chronicle 5 days in a row above the fold. But each day, because we worked, I was the point person with the press, and we just put and the reporter, the first one was pretty nasty. It had all of this information. But the second, third, fourth day, it got better and better to the point where people read this and went, they did the right thing. They did this, they handled this as well as they could. So that's a big example. More recently, Andy Vermeer, who is our executive director, had a much, much, much smaller problem to deal with. But it was a problem, and staff had been talking about it. So at the next director's meeting, program director's meeting, it's about 30 people, he just owned it. He said, look, we have a problem. I want to talk about it for the next half an hour, 45 minutes, and I want to hear from you. I want to hear how you think we got here. I want your sense of what the problem is and how you think we could fix it. And he literally just listened for 45 minutes. Sometimes he would ask follow-up questions. Well, what do you think? How would that work? Or why do you think that? But he didn't tell people what the solution was. He just listened. And often people say, he said this, and almost everybody I've ever worked for said, my door is always open. But a lot of people don't go there until you demonstrate to them that you're actually willing to listen and hear hard things and take feedback and do something with it. And that day, Andy convinced the people in that room that when he said, my door is open, they should take advantage of it. Well, part of that is also celebrating the victories. The thing, when I look at the national situation right now, there's three things I think of. We have gotten to the point where we let the perfect be the enemy of the good. We have lost the idea of nuance, and we've lost the idea of grand bargains, compromises, where you don't get from here to where you want to be eventually, but you get closer step by step. And a lot of people feel like if we're here now and what you're proposing doesn't get me to nirvana, I'm against it. So I think what we have to do is really work on celebrating the victories, the small victories on the way to what we'd like to see happen in the long term. Really celebrate nuance. That, the idea that you and I disagree about these things are things we agreed on and we can work on, like the CASA, which was, I think, a revolutionary effort in the Bay Area to get people on the same page to move housing, solving the housing crisis forward. So I think those are things that I would really urge people to think about and work on.
Very powerful lessons. During our time together, you've really stressed the need to listen well, to report back so people know that they've been heard, to have accountability when you need to, and to create a fun and engaging environment.